Dan, the question is, do we believe in these 5 teams, though? I got 5 teams in front of me today. We kicked around maybe doing a hot seat segment here. Do we believe in coaches? Do we not believe in coaches? But they're all in the hot seat, which tells you that we kind of don't believe in them.
Yep.
I want to talk about teams, dog.
Okay, dog.
Let's talk about some teams. Have you seen enough to truly, deeply, madly believe in Florida State at this point, Dan Rubenstein?
I have not seen enough. No. I have not seen enough. I think the win against Alabama was great. Is great. But since then it's East Texas A&M and Kent State. Terrific. They behaved like a top team should against those teams. I can't unsee what I saw last season from Florida State. I think I like Tom Castellanos.
Big Tom Callahan.
Big Tom Callahan.
Yeah.
I'm just not in on Florida State yet. The underlying numbers are very good for the most part, but mean nothing. Because it sort of takes 2 to tango as well in that Florida State-Bama game. It wasn't just Florida State demoralizing Alabama. It was internal with Alabama, with the way that they played, the manner in which they gave or didn't give effort. Like, there was something inside Alabama that needed fixing. And Florida State took advantage, like a really good team. But I am not swayed fully to the side of Florida State is back. They are a top 10 team. They're going to behave as such all season long. And double-digit wins is a reasonable expectations all of the sudden. So, no, I am not a believer in Florida State yet.
There's a belief thing going on with their point spread on Friday night, by the way.
There is.
So they play Virginia. They're on the road at Virginia on Friday night. I don't understand this line at all.
It's an interesting line, Ty.
And generally, that's when you steer into it.
Yeah.
But Virginia at home is only a 6.5-point dog. It is a look-ahead spot for Florida State because they've got the big home game coming up in week 6 against Miami, which will be enormous. That'll be the game of the week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You were assuming it would be a bigger line. You were assuming it would be like 9.5 points for Florida State.
Oh yeah. With how much steam is on Florida State, maybe this is belief in Virginia. Maybe that's what Vegas is telling us here.
Yeah.
Virginia's look pretty good, and hell, if you look at what Virginia's got in front of them, they could randomly end up 8-4, 9-3.
Yeah.
And that would not be a stretch.
The roster is definitely better than where it was last season when they beat Tommy Castellanos at Boston College. Yeah. Didn't have a good game.
I believe in Florida State. I do. I think the manner in which they have started their season has been enough to boot up the belief factor once more. And they're clearly doing things differently. They are clearly trying to take advantage of Gus Malzahn and his knowledge of offenses, and in this case, Tom Callahan / Castellanos.
Yeah.
I believe in Florida State.
One game.
I don't know to what end.
Game 1, the least important game of the season. It's all it took.
It's all it took, man.
Okay.
But they've looked really good. You know they've looked really good. And
they have.
I understand that they have not necessarily played the toughest of competition. That certainly is a valid point. But I would just add, they are killing teams.
Yeah, great.
They are dismembering teams.
Great. They're going to win the MAC.
That stands for something.
Okay. Were you the type of person when you would see a young lady from like across a lecture hall or a bar or restaurant or something where you're like, one day I'm going to marry that girl just because you happen to catch her gaze?
No.
One day. Because, I mean, it's one game. And it's a great game to set a tone. But you got to see a little bit more from a team who went 2-10. That's all.
Hey, real quick, it'd be great if you could consider subscribing to the YouTube channel down below. It really helps us out.
Since we're talking about Florida State, let's talk about Miami.
Let's.
So these two play each other week 6. Clearly, it's going to be one of the games that we have to preview in advance. It's going to be huge. Have we seen enough at this juncture to believe in Miami?
Yes. I think so.
I agree.
It's just because of the manner, and we have more data based on teams that they've played, in that they've played a horrific Notre Dame team and Florida now. And they've performed in a way where I'm not positive they're anywhere near a finished product, which is a good thing for Miami, hopefully. But their starting point of being better than everybody on their schedule, I believe, along the lines, given the experience, given where they are health-wise right now. I don't know how you can look at this Miami team and say, like, get ready for 8-4, just because it's really hard to go 8-4 in the ACC when you have crisp quarterback play and a really good set of lines. It's just very difficult to be that bad and give away those types of games when you're going to have that kind of trench advantage. So, yeah, I'm a believer.
I'm a believer so far. But I do think the hump that they need to get over.
Pitt. Your Pitt Panthers.
Well, we can laugh about that, but they are on the road at Pitt to close out the season. And I think the broader point is they're also on the road next week against Florida State. They've got a road tilt at the beginning of November against SMU. I don't necessarily think that Virginia Tech's going to put up much of a fight when they play later in the year, but stranger things have happened in Lane Stadium.
True.
We saw this Miami team, a very, very good Miami team last year, crumble down the stretch in some key road spots.
That's JMA Wireless, baby. Everybody does.
This is not wrong. But we need to see how they look away from home.
I agree.
Okay,
that's true.
So far it's been Notre Dame. They look good, I thought, for the most part against Notre Dame, save for maybe the last quarter and a half. Clearly what they did against Florida this past week, the defense came to play.
Yeah.
USF, the way they took apart USF, I think that will go down as a much better win than many people are giving it credit for right now.
Is it worrisome that Miami only scored 27 against Notre Dame after seeing Notre Dame subsequently?
It's worrying that Notre Dame was able to claw their way back into that game.
Okay.
And it's worrying because
I think we think the Notre Dame offense is good, right?
I think the Notre Dame offense is outstanding, and
Yeah.
I think CJ Carr is actually the real deal and
Okay.
very, very good.
Cool.
But I worry about Mario mode. They did it again against Florida. They went super conservative for a hot minute.
Yeah.
It felt like Florida might find a way back into that thing. They didn't.
Right.
But there will be ample opportunities the rest of the way, especially because I think Miami's better than most of these teams on the schedule. Maybe with the exception of Florida State, depending how you feel about the Noles. But everybody else here, they should be better. And so the question is, can they get over that hump? Can they really make me believe that they're not going to give away a game late in a stupid fashion because they go ultra conservative? That's the next remaining hurdle if you want me to be hook, line, and sinker, a true believer in the Canes. But for right now, based on what we're seeing, it's hard not to believe. They've looked really good.
10 wins would be a failure-ish for this Miami team.
It kind of would with the way they've started, yeah.
And what's left? Okay. Next team.
Indiana.
I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I am a believer. Not that I was a huge believer in Illinois, but again, it's the manner in which, and their non-conference schedule is not indicative of much, but when you look how precisely they picked apart Illinois, now they have Penn State and Oregon on the road. Oregon's, I think, in a couple weeks.
Right.
I think there's a bye between Oregon, Penn State, and Oregon, Indiana. But we saw it last season from Indiana against a lesser schedule. I think a healthy Fernando Mendoza likely has a higher ceiling than a beat-up Curtis Rourke. And I'm in, man. The eye test is there. The speed is there. The how well coached this team seems to be is there. And I mean, Kurt Cignetti is what, 64, 65? He's a finished product as a coach, I think, at this point. And that's an amazing product. And so I think they check a lot of boxes. Even if they go 10-2 and lose those two games to Oregon and Penn State, I think you look at the rest of the Big Ten and where teams have very clear and specific flaws and weaknesses, I think Indiana is just built to threaten double digits again, at the very least.
They are not playing for Mario mode.
No.
And that's the difference. And that's part of why I also believe in Indiana. Now, my belief has limits with these guys. I think they're very good. I think they're probably better than they were a year ago, which is saying something because this team went to the playoffs a year ago. This is a harder schedule in 2025. And we need to at least mention that. They've looked really, really good so far. They looked awesome at home against Illinois. This week, they are on the road at Iowa. Now, I don't think super highly of Iowa. I've had a full evolution in my thought around the Hawkeyes at this point.
Okay.
But tough defense on the road. Crowd will be fired up. Perhaps a bit of a letdown spot. Let's see what they do there.
Let down look ahead. Yeah.
Oregon in a couple weeks on the road in Autzen Stadium. That'll be an incredible opportunity to show what they can do against one of the better teams in the country.
Yes.
Also on the road at Penn State. That's a tough road schedule, man. That's really, really tough. They do get Penn State a week after the Ohio State game.
After Penn State plays Ohio State on the road.
That's right.
Yeah.
So perhaps there's a bit of a letdown effect in play for Penn State, but they will have more opportunities here to show what they are made of. If nothing more, they have proven that when they get up on you, they are going for the throat.
Yes.
And I don't hate that.
Correct.
I don't hate that in my college football team. That's part of why I believe in this team again for the second straight year.
I'll say it. I'll say it out loud, Ty. Indiana winning the old Oaken Bucket this season.
There we go.
Put me down.
Texas Tech.
I think I'm a believer, Ty.
Are you a believer in Texas Tech with Baron Morton or Will Hammond? Are you a believer in Texas Tech regardless of which one of those two guys plays?
Right.
How do we feel about where they fit into the broader Big 12 conversation at this point?
I feel great about where they fit in no matter who that quarterback is, even if they lose a game or two with whichever quarterback ends up getting the lion's share of the work under center, mostly because Houston, Kansas, Arizona State, which might be tough, but they're not like running away from teams in the moment, especially on defense. Oklahoma State, Kansas State, BYU, likely tough. UCF, I'm going to need to see more. And West Virginia. It would actually take a lot in this moment, injury-wise or something catastrophic internally, like that just the locker room is splintered, something like that, for Texas Tech to not have a sensational season. If they are good, not even great, if they are good, they should win 10 games against this schedule from here on out. So I'm a believer.
If they are half decent, they should be in the Big 12 title game.
Yes.
Given that schedule.
Yeah. Now,
I think ASU will be a
teams
tough
can
out.
grow. Teams can, have weird stretches. Of course. Sorry, you were saying.
ASU will be a tough out. BYU will be a tough out. Kansas State on the road, who knows? I'm not thinking too highly of K-State at this point, but maybe by November they'll get their act together. And then closing out the year on the road at West Virginia, which is not the easiest place to play, and West Virginia has already shown, I think, more fight than many have thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, based on what we have seen so far, you go to Utah, you win that game going away, 34-10. There aren't many other teams on this schedule that you look at and shudder with fear.
I agree.
In theory, if you take Utah down in Rice-Eccles, you should be able to go to Tempe and beat Arizona State.
Yeah.
You should be able to go to Bill Snyder Family Stadium and take down K-State.
They need to get a little bit,
take down West Virginia.
They need to get cleaner on offense. It was a little bit too mistake prone, penalties and such at Utah.
No.
But they're just not going to have that combination, I don't think, of defense and road atmosphere on this schedule. So
I'm a believer to the extent that the schedule is outstanding.
Yeah.
And it sets up really well for them. I am a non-believer from the standpoint of Texas Tech's never really been here before.
Yeah, but it's sort of like Indiana
recently.
you're going to say you're a believer in Indiana. Indiana was never there before. Texas Tech hasn't finished ranked in 16, 17 years, but it's a different looking roster. I don't know.
It is.
Okay.
Oklahoma.
I'm not a believer. I'm a believer in the improvement. I'm a believer in the fun. I'm not a believer that the wins are going to continue at this pace.
Why?
I'm going to need to see more consistent from a downfield passing attack. I'm going to need to see what happens to this offense if faced with adversity against some of the teams on this schedule. Just because the schedule is going to get harder, right? This was a great year to get Michigan. We'll see on what kind of year it is to get Auburn, but I think everybody with a defensive line with a heartbeat might have some fun against Auburn this season. It's a schedule thing, and it's the way this offensive roster is built thing that you do need somebody who can put a lot of fear into defenses out wide. I think they're fine there. I think they have guys who can make plays, but I just don't think the roster is there to get to like 10 wins.
I am a believer in the overhauled roster. I am clearly a believer in the defense. I think the defense is legit.
Yeah.
I am clearly a believer in John Mateer and his ability to work well with Ben Arbuckle.
Yeah.
I am not a believer in this offense as a whole, though, because this is still a very Mateer-centric offense.
Yep.
They are heavily dependent on whatever he can provide. They didn't really run the ball at all. And they have not really run the ball that well so far this season.
And what do you need to do in the red zone? What do you need to do in the red zone? You got to be able to run.
You got to be able to run a little bit.
Yeah. I think.
And maybe this is a little bit of what Brian Kelly was intimating when he went on his rant 2 weeks ago now. You know, we ran the ball fine when we had to.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a school of thought there. Maybe Oklahoma just needs to run it well when they have to outside of John Mateer. But I'm looking at this schedule and I'm thinking there are some defenses here.
Yeah.
That if you are so Mateer-centric, you're not going to be able to beat them. They're going to know it's coming, especially by the time you get into November.
Those final
LSU,
5, yeah.
Alabama, even Mizzou, even Tennessee.
Tennessee's on the road.
Teams,
yep.
These are teams that are good enough defensively, if nothing more, to shut down to some degree what you're trying to do with Mateer.
Yep.
Unless he's good enough to win the Heisman, in which case all this goes out the window. But that is what I am fearful of with Oklahoma, that they are essentially counting on a Heisman caliber season from John Mateer in order to make it through the schedule and perhaps go somewhere in the SEC. The SEC to me feels like it's enormously in flux at the moment. We will get some clarity hopefully this weekend.
Yeah.
But I would just like to see a little bit more before I'd fully throw my hat in the ring, before I'd hold up my belief sign for Oklahoma. I like what they're doing. I think the trend is in a good direction. I would just like to see a more complete offensive effort before I'm ready to sign up my name next to him.
Yeah. If it were an easier schedule, I think it would be easier to believe.
No. Well, that's true as well.
Yeah.
Write in solidverbal@gmail.com. Let us know in the comments who you're believing in, who you're not believing in. And of course, as always, let us know why.